So this ends our journey, obviously, together, at least this formal part of the journey, okay? So today is the chance that you now have to share with me and our judges what you've learned over the course of the last 10 weeks, okay? So obviously we've had 10 sessions together. They've been hands-on sessions, but we've also done a lot of stuff outside the classroom. So if you were with me at the Open IDEO Hackathon, please stand up. I think there were 4 in the other cohort. Were you, Marta? No? Yeah, stand up. Yeah, just, it's all good, Marta. Nobody's going to...
No, IDEO, no.
Okay, no. All right, so if you were with me for the Reduxio Hackathon, please stand up and stay standing up. If you were with me for the Reduxio Hackathon. All right. If you were with me for the Nestle Hackathon, please stand up. No, keep standing. Anybody who did any of these outside the classroom events, keep standing. If you were with me for the Lego Serious Play meetup with Open IDEO in Boston on Newberry Street, please stand up. If you were in this classroom the day we did the Lego Serious Play exercise with Dita, please stand up. Okay. And if you've been with me in the whole business challenge in the entrepreneurship track, please stand up. All right. So, not too many of you still sitting, okay? So what I've tried, all right, you guys can sit now, thank you, all right? So, oh, Harvard, yes, if you were with me at Harvard, I'm sorry, I forgot about Harvard, yes. For the Designing Your Life workshop, thank you so much, Armando, I forgot about Harvard. Been busy, I forgot about that one, sorry about that, all right? All right, so I think you guys know me well enough by now to know that what I've tried to do is I've tried to bring the real world into the classroom, okay? And I try to do that through sharing with you the exact same skills that our panel, who I'll introduce you to in a second, use every day in their respective roles, okay? But I also do believe that bringing the classroom into the real world is even more important. So whether we're leaving campus on a bus for New York City to go do the Nestle Hackathon, or whether I am creating a separate space for you for an Open IDEO or a Reduxio Hackathon, we're bringing the classroom into the real world, right? Or you're going to Newberry Street, or we're going to Harvard together, okay? So I'm going to encourage you to continue to pursue these kinds of opportunities to learn when we say goodbye at the end of the day, okay? Now, for some of you, I will continue to see in the Hult Business Challenge. For some of you, I will see in one of my elective classes later this year, either New Business Ventures or Disruptive Innovation, or perhaps some of the other things I'm doing. And then there are a couple of hackathons I wanted to just talk to you about and see if some of you might be interested in helping me as an organizer or as a participant, okay? So the two that I'm now very excited about doing, one is when I was at the Nestle Hackathon a couple weeks ago, one of our teams worked with a young woman who was hearing impaired. And I could see, as I visited this team of ours 4 or 5 times over the course of the weekend, that the woman that was hearing impaired was increasingly less engaged in the experience. And she was increasingly less engaged because she had trouble keeping up with her teammates. She just couldn't see or hear really what was going on. And so she came up to me at the very end of the hackathon as I was getting ready to leave, and she said, I have to tell you that, unfortunately for me, this was a disappointing experience. And it wasn't that your fellow students weren't friendly or helpful or generous. She just was in an environment which was sort of stacked against her. So it inspired me to want to create a hackathon for the hearing impaired, okay? And what that might look like is, over the weekend, I just got back from San Francisco. I've been there since I last saw you guys in New York. I was with the former student, and I had shared with her my interest in doing exactly this, and she goes, I know a Russian scientist who has been working on this for 25 years. He's now teaching and studying and researching at Berkeley, and he's just entered into a partnership with Facebook, and he would be an incredibly interesting guy to work with on this because he's got a device that he'd like feedback on. So one of the things that I'm going to try to do between now and the time that Module C is over is to create a hackathon for the hearing impaired. And I'm going to try to do it in conjunction with this UCal Berkeley researcher, principal investigator. And I would love to include some of you, if you would like, as organizers or as participants. So I very much see the hearing impaired community being fully participating in this, and we'll have people that will come in and do sign language so that there's much better communication between the teams. But I would love to have these as hybrid teams. I would love to have these teams with both folks like us who do not suffer from hearing impairment, partnered with people that do. Okay? So this is something I'm hoping to get done sometime between now and the time we rotate. How many people would be interested in joining me for this? Cool. All right. So I'll keep you guys up to date. All right? Now, the second hackathon that I'm planning on working on is around children's empowerment. And with my startup company, Reduxio, that many of you have come to know through our recent hackathon, we have a brand new customer known as Life is Good. Not LG as in the Korean consumer electronics company, but Life is Good as in the social enterprise. Anybody know Life is Good, the brand? Anybody ever patronize the brand? So Life is Good is a company started by two young men, twin brothers, who are all about empowerment and optimism, specifically for kids. And so they have a social venture not that different from Tom's Shoes. And that social venture, they donate money to kids' causes. So the other hackathon that I would like to run between now and the end of this Module C will be a partnered hackathon with Life is Good. And I imagine they'll be able to bring in some very fun NGOs and social enterprises that stand up for children's causes. So again, this would be something where we would probably not do it on campus. I assume it's going to be a much bigger event. And we'll probably bring in some corporate sponsors for this. But how many people might be interested in something like that? Okay. So all I can say is I know, we won't be communicating anymore in my courses. But I will continue to post very regularly, as many of you who have connected with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. All I'm going to say is just pay attention to my posts. And it will become very clear to you when this hackathon is going to happen, but I'm sure I'll be seeing many of you on campus as I come back for the Hult Business Challenge in Module C, okay? So, with that, let me introduce our judges, and then when I'm done with that, we're going to take just a few minutes. Richard is here to have you complete the student evaluation. What I have found is that the completion rate on student evaluations is way higher when we ask you to do it in class and when we have the registrar here, right? Yeah, exactly. The Dr. No Evil laugh comes from the students, right? Yes. But let me tell you why it's important to me, right? I was asked to teach this course, and I decided that I would do this by tearing up the syllabus and starting from scratch. So this is the first time that this course in this form has been taught. And like any, version 1 product, I'm sure that there is room for improvement. So I would love to ask for 100% student participation in this evaluation. And I ask you to be thoughtful about your feedback, okay? Please take a few minutes and put the time in to share your feedback with me and with Hult about your experience in this class, okay? Now, before I head out for a few minutes, I want to just introduce our judges to you. We've got some awesome judges. Starting on my right is Jens Kemp. Jens and I go way back. Jens actually turned out to be a student of mine in an executive education program at the Technical University of Denmark outside of Copenhagen when he came in as part of a 2-person team working on an innovation project. And I was teaching in a corporate ventures course, and he was working as a technology scout trying to bring what we'll call Horizon 2 innovation. If you remember the 3 horizons, Horizon 2 innovation to his company. He faced many internal challenges. He had the resilience to stay through them, and included the firing of the CEO, who was not the solution but the problem. And the firing of the CEO cleared the path. I was fortunate enough to have a chance to consult with his company for a while he was going through it. This product has now turned into sort of by far the most significant product that they are selling today. It's turned out to be a remarkable success, and it's had tremendous impact on their share valuation and everything else. And he is very much the guy that drove that. So Jens Kemp is here to join us today. I have a very new friend that I know I'm going to be friends with for life. His name is Michael Raspuzzi. Some of you who might have met Manu, who I work with on OpenIDEO, was kind enough to introduce me to Michael. Michael has been active in the OpenIDEO community, but he has been gracious enough to invite me into the inner sanctum of the Cornell Mafia, which is it's a sub-branch of the Genovese family here in Boston, okay? If you haven't watched The Sopranos, you missed the joke, I'm sorry. But my Italian students, they know. They know. And so Michael has an undergrad from Cornell. He is an innovation junkie. He's a hackathon junkie. He's a design thinking junkie. So he's kind of my soul brother in this. And Michael is going for one of the coolest degrees ever at Harvard right now. He's working on a master's in design and engineering, right? Did I describe that correctly? So it's the best of all worlds. It's design thinking, it's engineering. And so he's joining us today. He brings a great perspective, very consistent with everything we've taught you in this class. So welcome, Michael, and thank you. Connor Sheehan, I'm encouraged to know that although we had Connor in the class with you guys about 4 or 5 weeks ago, you know, you didn't scare him away that bad. So he was willing to come back again and come for more. And at least 2 teams referenced him specifically in their pitches about an idea that he shared with them that had inspired a direction that they took their project in. So he is a world-class digital product developer and designer. He's been a very good friend and colleague of mine, helping me as a mentor, as a hackathon participant, and a coach. And so welcome, Connor Sheehan. Okay. And last but certainly not least is my friend Venkat, another soul brother in the world of innovation and hackathons. Now, many of you, this is the different cohort, but the other cohort met 2 of Venkat's colleagues on our very first session together, where we talked a lot about the challenges of doing innovation within large corporate structures. So Venkat has the unique challenge of working within John Hancock Manulife, a 150-year-old financial services and insurance company based here in Boston, but they merged with Manulife in Toronto. So he's fighting the good fight as an entrepreneur, but every chance he gets, he's out in the community hacking, design sprinting, whatever it takes to kind of keep his creative juices flowing, and he's bringing a lot of that back into John Hancock with him. About a year ago, I ran an accelerator for Techstars called Startup Next, and we were lucky enough to bring in one of the John Hancock teams, and in many ways, Venkat was the bridge between the traditional corporate financial services, fintech world, and the world of innovation. So welcome to Venkat as well. I'm the only woman I have ever worked with who has run a hackathon and a final team pitch session on time, the one and only Kirsten. All right. So we're going to take 5 minutes